it's me, Vicky Marie. I thought I had my welcome video. I'm going to put that on now. Hey, now it really is me, Vicky Marie. Welcome to my channel. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. Okay, let me just take that off so that I can see you all. How are you all? So, Bluebell, thank you so much. Oh, look at that. It's nice. Start with positivity. Thank you so much, Bluebell. Let me put on the thank you. I've got a lot to get through in this. I'm going to talk about a lot of different things. Now, I'm going to do a bit of waffling as well. Thank you, Bluebell. So very kind. Thank you. Thank you. God, I pressed it again. Another thank you. I always press the wrong buttons. I'm good at pressing the wrong buttons. Gosh, it's a good job I'm not in charge of some, great big TV spectacular or something. I've got lots to talk about in this video. We're going to talk about the police in the UK, first of all. We're going to talk a little bit about the Southport attacks. I don't like talking about that now. It's overdone and dusted. But some of the police that had to attend there, they've been nominated for Bravery Awards. So the Police Bravery Awards are coming up. And I want to talk about that briefly because, the police do get a bad press. There are bad police people out there that don't do the right thing, but there's so many of them that do the right thing and put their lives at risk to save other people. And so these Bravery Awards, I just want to make some comment about that. I just want to show you some information about that. Because we should not forget that they're not all bad. And if we were if I was in the UK and I had a problem, like anyone who's in the UK, you would ring the police, wouldn't you? You'd ring the police. You wouldn't ring all these social media people that are slagging the police off left, right and centre. The police can't do anything right. The police are this, the police are that. Well, who would you ring if you needed somebody? You wouldn't ring them, would you? They won't come and help you. So you'd ring the police, and yeah, you may get a good one, you may get a bad one, because police are human beings, just like everybody else. So it's good. It's important to remember that as well. As well as holding them to account. Of course, they should be held to account when they do things wrong, but they should also be praised when they do things right, shouldn't they? So we're going to look at that briefly, and it sort of ties in with the Southport thing. Let me just take that. Thank you again, Bluebell. Very kind. Thank you. Then we're going to talk. What else are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about. Of course, I've lost the list now. Have I got the list here? Let's see. I've got the list, but I can't see it. Oh, yeah. Then we're going to talk about a case from Australia. In fact, we'll talk about that later before we talk about Erin. After we've talked about the police, just to let you know what the order will be. And for those of you who don't like big, long streams or don't like the waffle, because I'm going to do a little bit of waffle as well before I start, I want to tell you what nearly happened last night to me. If you don't like the waffle, then I will be afterwards, cutting this stream down into individual chunks. So you could wait for the video to come out and just watch the bit that you were interested in. So after talking about the Police Bravery Awards and the Southport incident very briefly, we're then going to be talking about some Spanish crime. And remember John George, the Irish guy who was very nastily murdered over in Spain in the Alicante area Orwell Acosta. And there's so much crime, you know, it's the more you look into the crime in Orwell Acosta, not just from Irish people, from all different nationalities. Orwell Acosta in Alicante in southern Spain, there's no Spanish people live there. It's like, you know, there's all sorts of Europeans, Brits, Irish, Swedish, and all kinds of Scandinavian, Icelandic, Lithuanian, Eastern European, you know, so there's a mixture of different nationalities there. And there's a lot of drug smuggling. It seems to be like a real centre for drug smuggling, etc. Lots of crime in that area, in the midst of where a lot of pensioners live and retire to and think, oh, you know, this is lovely, the Orwell Acosta right near the beach, and lovely living in Spain, safe Spain. And they don't know that just around, you know, going on around them is crime, and not only, you know, not small crime. There is a lot of robberies as well and things, but like big crime, drug smuggling, murders, etc. It's really, once you lift the sort of surface off and look at it, it's really quite scary, you know. But it's still, everybody wants to go and live there because it's right near the coast. You know, it's the Spanish dream, isn't it? Living the dream. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and the John George, some sort of, I can't call them revelations really, but, you know, some accusations that have been given against the wife of the prime suspect in the John George murder trial. Things that were said on Facebook about what she's supposed to have done or not done to Dan McMeekin. You know, it's a little bit of gossip, I suppose, in a way, but they're genuine things that have happened. In the meantime, who knows when this case will actually finally come to court, you know. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Then we are going to talk about another Australian case. So this is Hannah McGuire we're going to be talking about. Hannah McGuire was brutally murdered by her ex-partner, allegedly. The reason that we're going to be talking about is the trial has just started. And Hannah McGuire was one of the women, the three women in Ballarat. Remember with this Samantha Murphy case, Samantha Murphy disappeared. Turns out she was murdered. And Hannah McGuire was another one. And then there was another lady, which her name's just escaping me at the moment. And that's why there were big demonstrations in Ballarat and surrounding areas against gender violence, because a town which had not seen a murder for years, or the year before there were no murders, suddenly in the first 4 months of last year, there were 3 gender violence murders, virtually one after the other. Anyway, Hannah's case, the trial has started, and so we're going to be looking at that. It's not as high profile as Samantha Murphy, it's not as high profile as the Erin Patterson case was, but Hannah, hope she gets her justice. We're going to look into that. What is her twonk of an ex-boyfriend? What excuse is he coming up with? Oh, you won't believe it. Well, you will believe it, because we've heard more ridiculous things. But anyway, he's innocent till proven guilty. We always have to remember that, don't we? Innocent till proven guilty. So we're going to be talking about that. And then last of all, we're going to be talking about Erin Patterson. Found some interesting news items about Erin. You know, what she can expect from life in prison, some of the comments she made to her defence team when her trial kicked off, and just how entitled she is. Oh, and we've got the CCTV of the 9-second bathroom stop that she made. Remember, she's this infamous bathroom stop, 9 seconds. Sorry, I should say 9 seconds. When she had terrible diarrhea, didn't she? Because she'd been poisoned by death cap mushrooms, supposedly. And she made a 9-second bathroom stop. We've got the CCTV of that. There's so much coming out about Erin. I mean, she really is a piece of work, isn't she, basically? So, anyway, don't think she's having a very good time in prison. She certainly was complaining about it while she was under a trial. So I hope it's even worse now. You know, I have no sympathy for Erin whatsoever. Killing 3 nice, just nice, gentle people, and trying to kill another one that had done her no harm, that she just mocked for their niceness. Because, she just thought, anyway, I'll get into that rant when we get to it. So, hi, lurkers. Thank you for watching. Hi, well, I'm not saying hello to loathsome. Oh, no, I will. Hi, loathsome lurkers. And hi to replay crew, of course. Thank you for watching. And now I'm just going to come into the chat and say hello to everybody who's brave enough to venture into the chat. Then I'm going to do a little bit of waffle. So you've still got time to make a cup of tea or whatever, get your snacks or do whatever, go to the loo, whatever you need to do. You've probably got time to have a shower, because I have got just a bit of waffle that I want to tell everyone about. But first, I'm going to say hello to those of you that are in the chat. Also, and thank you for watching, liking, subscribing. Thank you to those of you buying me Ko-fi, send me super chats, like Bluebell just did. Thank you so much. People PayPal me, or they send me nice emails suggesting cases or giving me a heads up on some of those toxic trolls out there. Not many of them. Do you know there really isn't many? We're only talking about 2 people at the moment that know about, but I know about them. Now, I just want them to know. They don't bother me. I just want them to know that I know, if you see what I mean. So thank you to all the people who do that for me. Thank you for I've had some lovely messages. Just you're all the best. Thank you so much. We really do have a community that, not many social media people have, and we like our community, don't we? So let's see who's in the chat. Let me take my banner off before I forget, because sometimes I forget. And let's have a look at the chat. Hi, Bluebell, of course. Thank you. And Bluebell, thank you again for the super sticker. And you're not driving tonight, Bluebell. You're listening while eating with your kids, not driving. Normally you're driving, aren't you? Oh, thank you, Bluebell. That's kind. I don't feel lovely, honestly. It's only 29 degrees. It has cooled down a touch. And yesterday it looked like we were going to have a storm. And, it was like, great. Anyway, it didn't happen. So whether it'll happen today or not. Hi, David. Hi, Julie. Are you a bit cooler where you are up there in Madrid? It's only a couple of degrees cooler, but it does make a difference. Hi, Maria. The 2 builders that helped will be recognised. Who are you talking about there, David? Sorry, I'm getting confused. Who do you mean by the 2 builders that helped? Hi, Lily. Thanks for the waffle emojis, David. Hi, Daniel. Happy Thursday. I thought it was Friday this morning. Some of you might have noticed when I first put out the notification for this live, I put a Friday chat. I don't know what day it is at the moment, because I don't have as many classes now, because of course it's summertime, so it'll be September before I get back into a routine. So I'm not in much of a routine at the moment. And so I forgot it was Thursday and I thought it was Friday. Hi, KDB. I'm still living in a furnace, Julie. Southport. Okay, yeah, because the Southport Inquiry, of course, has started. I don't know about this Southport Inquiry, but it just feels like for the families, it must be like we're just rehashing everything all over again. And I'm sure. I know that they, I'm not saying obviously they don't want to forget their children, but they want to forget what happened to them. Do you know, like they said that, didn't they, at the trial? They didn't want their children to be remembered for what happened to them. They wanted to be remembered for the vibrant little children that they are, before it was taken away from them. So I'm going to put a picture of the girls, the 3 victims. Well, of course, this is Alice, Elsie, Dot, and BB. They were the girls who died, but of course there are many more victims in this awful occurrence, which of course was last summer, wasn't it? And resulted in riots and all sorts of things. Anyway, the culprit was arrested. I won't be showing a picture of him, but just to let you know, I won't be mentioning his name or showing a picture of him at all. But a picture of him, unfortunately, will come up in the article, that we read about. They don't have those. I don't want to see his face, and I don't want to show his face. I just want to show these little girls' faces. So let me just get on to the waffle I was going to tell you. So last night, I'm on my way to pick up number one son from work. What do I see at the side of the road? Crying. A little tiny black kitten. Little tiny kitten. Just sat there crying plaintively. Now, I had my dogs in the car. I couldn't stop. They started barking at it straight away just as we were driving past. So there's nothing I could do. I couldn't pick it up. I couldn't, do anything. I couldn't even stop because the dogs were just barking at it, and then they scared it. And then I was scared it might run into the road. So I carried on, picked up number one son. He only works 5 minutes away. And I was telling him about it. And as we came back, it was still there. Well, he's just as daft as me when it comes to animals. So that was it. It was right. I'm going to get it. I said, look, we just can't have that kitten in our house. I've got 3 dogs that we have to keep them separated because the German Shepherd, Princess Tia, she doesn't like any other dog. She certainly doesn't like cats. What would we do with it? If we did manage to get it, we would I'd have to find another home for it or whatever. Anyway, all this sort of discussion went on. In the meantime, my son's out of the car. You take the dogs home and come back. And then he's phoning me and he's saying, no, it won't come to me. Will you come back with some water and some food when you come back? So I came back home, put my dogs in their cages. Got some water, got some dog treats, because that's what these really nice dog treats, actually, that the dogs absolutely love. And they're not expensive. They're from the local supermarket, but they're really meaty. And took them back, and there he was. And now, as I was driving up to go back to where he was, where the kitten was, there's a restaurant right near it. And there were all cats outside this restaurant. Now, here in Spain, we have these, what they call cat colonies. There are loads of stray cats in Spain, loads and loads and loads. And very kind people feed them, water them, take them away. The vets, they will sterilize them free. If you can get hold of them, you can get them to a vet, and if they've come from a cat colony, if they're stray cats, the vets will, there are certain vets, not all vets will, but a lot of the vets will sterilize them or castrate them free. And then they take them back and they put them back in their colonies. You have to have a legal registration to feed the stray cats. And there's lots of people go out and do it. Not only Spanish people, but British people. Probably there are other nationalities who do it as well. So they do get looked after. They do get fed well, and they hang around, obviously, outside restaurants. You can just see that. I can see these cats. It's like it's coming to the end of the night, and they're thinking, all these people will go in a minute, and maybe the restaurants put the leftovers out for them or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, this little black kitten, it's so cute. It wouldn't let my son get it, and it kept, there was like a pipe or like a drain thing, and it kept going in there, and it wouldn't come out to let him actually get it. So he got the water. I took some water in a little bowl, and we put that down for him, or her, of course, don't know. And he got the dog treats, which was chicken flavour. Chicken flavour. I mean, they do smell very chickeny. They are nice treats. And he was breaking that up into little pieces. Oh, I love that. It was right. So it obviously was a little bit hungry. Anyway, as we're there debating what to do, and said, I think all we can do really is leave this food and water down for it. What else can we do? And then this Spanish man, a Spanish young lad, well, he was about 30, probably about my son's age, or similar age, late 20s, mid 20s. And he said, oh, what's going on, and we showed him the cat. Anyway, as luck would have it, this guy and his girlfriend, they run a cat colony. They feed a colony of cats. So he took a picture of the cat. He sent a message, and he lives just around the corner. Sent a message to his girlfriend, and she said, oh, that cat belongs to such and such, that kitten. Apparently there's about 3 colonies around there that get fed by different people. So he said, look, if you think you can get it and you can take it and find it a home, that's great. But don't worry, because they are being looked after. I mean, my concern was the road. So there's a road right there. Now, it's not a busy road. Sometimes that's worse, because a lot of people don't drive slow around these cats. You quite often, very sadly, see cats or kittens or whatever squished in the road. It's horrible. And I just say a little prayer for them and send them up to Jesus. I mean, it might sound silly to you, but that's what I do. There's nothing you can do. I can't save it once it's already been run over. Now, I've saved loads of cats over the years, but now, as much as I love cats and I miss having a cat, can't have a cat with the German Shepherd in this house. She just, it just wouldn't be safe. It wouldn't be safe to be here, because she just doesn't like cats, and that's it. She doesn't like my dogs. We have to keep them separate. I always say she's an only dog. She's been on her own, ever since she was a puppy. She's about 9 now, so she's not going to change now. She doesn't like other dogs. She doesn't like cats. She likes being the boss. So, couldn't have a cat here. But having said that, I would have kept it here and found someone who would have it. Anyway, so we felt better then, because we'd spoken to this lad. He lived just literally a couple of houses away. So he said he would keep an eye out for it and make sure it had food, but also apparently there was other people looking after it. So thankfully, I thought I was going to be showing you a kitten the next time I was on the stream. I was even thinking of names for it. I will get another cat one day, but it won't be while we still have the German Shepherd, or not voluntarily anyway. So that was my evening. I thought, oh my God. But I've taken in so many animals over the years, and sometimes you just do it because you can't leave them there, can you? Well, I can't anyway. I can't, and so hopefully it's okay. So that was the little bit of waffle I wanted to tell you. Sorry for waffling, but I know a lot of you love animals, so you won't mind me waffling a little bit. Let me just come back to the chat. Make sure you're all okay. Do you have that, Julie, in your town? Yeah. The town hall does get involved. They contribute money towards sterilizations and food, etc. Hi, Excel. No, I haven't seen that one. I will have a look for that, Excel, when we come to talking about Erin. I've got the CCTV of the 9-second toilet stop, but no, I haven't seen that one. So, well, it's plates, isn't it? Plates. Not just one plate that's missing, is it? Isn't there all 5 plates are missing, aren't they, apparently? Anyway, but I'll have a look for that. I'll have a look for that. Okay, so first of all, we're going to talk about, very briefly, I don't like to talk about this case, and it's not because I don't want to look at pictures of these little girls. I could look at pictures and videos of these little girls all day long. It's just what happened. It's horrible to think of, isn't it? And you just don't want to. So anyway, for anyone who doesn't know, this was the attacks in Southport in the UK last year, where I mean, the guy who did it, he was only 17 years old when he actually did it. It was 2 weeks short of his 18th birthday. And, just went and randomly attacked a Taylor Swift themed workshop in Southport, which was, he knew there would just be children and women and children there. Coward, total coward. He went where he knew everyone would be vulnerable. And we're seeing this. As soon as he was challenged by, men, policemen, and, people bigger than him, he just gave in because he's a horrible, cowardly twonk. But unfortunately, not before he did terrible, terrible damage to these little girls. So, Bluebell, no CCTV of the bush. Oh, thank God. Oh, God. Anyway, sorry, let me get back to this. So currently there's an inquiry going on into it, and also the Police Bravery Awards are coming up. So that's what we're just going to talk about briefly. So the officers who confronted the Southport killer reveal how they disarmed him, as they are nominated for a Police Bravery Award. 70 officers from across England and Wales have been nominated for the Police Federation National Bravery Awards. And that was Thursday night. So it's not only, let's see if I can get rid of this advert. These adverts do your head in, don't they? So it's not only the Southport attackers that are up for awards. There's quite a few. So let's have a look.
Llegar a fin de mes. Que llegue el frío, pero...
And as I say, I think we should, we have to appreciate the police, because they do amazing things. And these people that have been nominated for Bravery Awards, I don't know if I could have done what they've done.
Aquí no entre. Llegar con las...
It was a fight that began in a shop. The attacker had a knife. Eventually it spilled out onto the street.
You could see they were grappling, and they were just saturated in blood.
That's when PC Nicola Crabb arrived.
So this police lady, she's confronted with a scene, a stabbing, blood everywhere, and she just dives right in.
Armed only with a Parva pepper spray, she then grappled with the suspect.
There was a lot of struggling. I remember screaming lots. I don't know where the knife...
Look, he's got a bloody knife there. He stabbed at this other guy, I think. There's blood everywhere. She's just straight in there. She hasn't even had time to get a baton out or whatever.
Knife is, drop the knife, stop struggling, stop resisting.
Tuesday, we need more units here now, please.
PC Crabb managed to restrain the knife man until colleagues arrived to arrest him.
Wow.
Tuesday, we need air ambulance, please. One male stabbed to the neck.
It's what I'm paid to do. It's what I'm here for. And if I didn't, then I should be questioning whether or not I wear the uniform.
Wow. So yeah, this is what I do, and if I can't do it, I should be questioning why I wear the uniform. I mean, let's just watch that from the beginning again. That is, it makes me emotional, because that's the police that we need. Police that aren't scared. I mean, how she wasn't scared. It's not. I mean, that's a terrifying situation. If it was America, they probably would have got the gun out and just shot him. But, I mean, she hasn't got that option.
It was a fight that began in a shop. The attacker had a knife. Eventually it spilled out onto the street.
You could see they were grappling, and they were just saturated in blood.
That's when PC Nicola Crabb arrived. Armed only with a Parva pepper spray, she then grappled with the suspect.
God.
There was a lot of struggling. I remember screaming lots. I don't know where the knife is. Drop the knife. Stop struggling. Stop resisting.
Tuesday, we need more units here now, please.
PC Crabb managed to restrain the knife man until colleagues arrived to arrest him.
God.
Tuesday, we need air ambulance, please. One male
Good
stabbed
girl.
to the neck.
It's what I'm paid to do. It's what I'm here for. And if I didn't, then I should be questioning whether or not I wear the uniform.
PC Crabb is one of 70 officers from across the country who are nominated for
Oh, good old Martin Brunt, eh?
tonight's Police Federation National Bravery Awards. They include those who confronted and disarmed the Southport killer, Axel Rudakabana.
So we're going to move on to that now. But what do you think of that, eh? What a woman. My God, brilliant. You know, it's just fantastic, I think, what she did. So good that she's been nominated.
That day last summer, many officers raced to the children's
So this is the Southport attacks.
dance class in Southport. These are the officers who got there first.
There was maybe 20, 25 adults, and all of them were looking at me, and all of them had this look of terror and fear.
I identified the suspect at the top of the stairs, bloodied knife in his hand. So I thought, this is going to go two ways. He's going to listen to us, or he's going to fight with us and try and stab us.
So yeah, they turn up at that scene. I mean, I can't imagine how that must have been for them. You know, the trauma of just seeing those children attacked as they were. 25 adults, he said, they're all looking at them to do something. You know, of course you would. It's like, thank God the police here, you know, the police here. Everyone slags off the police, but they want the police to be there and sort things out. You know, and it's just, they'll have never probably seen anything like it before.
So, again, me and Greg formed a solid wall with our shoulders walking up the stairs so he couldn't get past us.
By then, the suspect had already fatally injured 7-year-old Elsie Stankham, Alice da Silva Aguirre, aged 9, and BB King, who was 6, and he'd tried to kill 10 others.
I ran in for the safety of my...
Yeah, I think sometimes, you know, I'm guilty of it. Is I forget about the 10 that he tried to kill. He managed to kill 3, but there were 10 others that he tried to kill.
Our fellow officers, just to make sure that they were okay. Just going off pure adrenaline, really.
He, all that bravery and bravado that he must have summoned up to attack innocent, defenceless children, he lost that straight away when he threw the knife down.
Yeah. So as soon as he saw the policeman, you know, he just threw the knife down. So he's a total coward. It's easy to attack a 4 or 5-year-old, 6-year-old. Oh my God. Disgusting. Anyway, you know, he's never going to come out of prison again, and neither should he. You know, I wouldn't accept any excuse for what he did. It's not mental health. I mean, it could be like a demon, a visitation from a demon or something. But also what we have to remember about this twonk is he didn't show any remorse. In fact, he said he was glad that he killed them. You know, I mean, he is mad. I mean, he definitely is mad. But he'll never change. So I don't think he can be rehabilitated. Well, he won't be anyway, because he's got whole life tariff, didn't he? Or did he get a whole life? Was it because of his age? Maybe he didn't. But anyway, he's got a really, really long sentence. So hopefully he won't ever, hopefully the only way he'll be coming out of prison is in a wooden box.
Saul Rudakabana was arrested by the officers and handed over to colleagues. He was jailed for life, and the judge said if he hadn't been stopped, he would have killed all 26 of the children.
Yeah, he would. He would have killed all of them. He wasn't going to stop, was he? So these police officers, they just went in there. They knew he had a great big knife. They knew he'd already killed these children, and they went up together, didn't they? They said they made a wall between them and just went up towards him, and he just threw the knife down. So yeah, I mean, the thing is, when you're a police officer, now I've been watching quite a few of these body cam videos from America, and you do sometimes see police officers. There was one that I was watching last night. I'm still angry about it. Do you know, I do wish you hadn't watched it. He was an absolute tosser, this policeman. Just can't even describe how, so you do get some that aren't good at what they do, but when you get police, so then after that, they must have just wanted to kill him, basically. Just beat him up or whatever. And they can't do that. They've got to be nice to him, take him off, get his fingerprints, take him up. They must just want to kill him. after the scene that they've just witnessed. You know, so they need a lot of restraint as well, don't they?
On Brighton Beach, police search for a vulnerable missing teenage girl. When they spot her 50 metres out in the cold sea, fighting to stay afloat. For the officers, there was only one option.
We could see that she was starting to struggle with the cold and the tide, and she started to dip underneath the water. And at that point, we knew we needed to do something, and that was that we needed to get in the water and swim out to her.
I don't think it's in the blood of any police officer to watch somebody at risk or somebody needing help.
So this is another case. So someone's in the sea in the middle of the night and they can see them there. They throw rope out to them, but it doesn't reach them. And they go in after them to try and save them. I mean, you know, they do risk their lives.
And not do something. When you're in the sea itself and it's pitch black, you don't even know where the bottom of the sea is. It's terrifying. And I can only imagine how the female was feeling as well at the time.
The girl, a mental health patient, was rescued,
Oh.
and she recovered from her ordeal. They put their own lives at risk and saved the life of another. Marty Brunt, Sky News.
So, yeah, I just wanted to show these. So this is the Police Bravery Awards. You know, that are going on. Somebody will win the Bravery Awards, but all these different, it's not only the Southport attackers, that superwoman who just wrestled that guy to the ground, who had a great big knife and had just literally stabbed someone. And then those, oh look, there he is in the back of the taxi. I don't, I say I wouldn't show photos of him, but they just come up in the article. So, yeah, these were knives that he had at his property. A machete. God. Dear me. So, yeah, and then these two sergeants from Sussex who swam to the rescue of a vulnerable teenager struggling to stay afloat at night off Brighton Beach. And they rescued her. Put their own lives in danger. So, yeah, I know sometimes we have to hold the police to account, things they do wrong, but things they do right as well, we do have to praise them. This woman, God, I wish she was a policewoman in my area. Bloody hell. So she had a baton and a pava pepper spray, and she grappled with him trying to find his knife. At one point, he grabbed my hair and kind of dragged me around a bit, so I parvered him, which just had no effect at all. So that's the pepper spray, isn't it? It didn't have any effect. So she managed to restrain the knife man until colleagues came. So the full list of award winners will be announced tonight, Thursday night, during a dinner at a West London hotel. So, yeah, I just wanted to show that. We have to remember not all policemen are bad, are they? Some are bad, but not all of them are. Okay, what we're going to talk about now. Let's see. Oh, so now we're going to talk about some sort of Spanish news. Let me take off the picture of the girls. So rest in peace, those three little babies. Hey. So we're going to talk about some Spanish and Irish crime. Somebody sent me a link to this article. There's all, as I say, it's all about drugs. These. Let me put some windows down. Actually, put the windows down for the ones that I've done. Where are we going now? So a big drug gang has been sort of dispersed, apparently. So the Gardaí in Ireland, in conjunction with European police, etc., have made an arrest as the gang behind Europe's biggest ever cocaine shipment is busted. So a couple of weeks ago, a load of cocaine was found in industrial machinery that was being brought into Spain or taken out of Spain. Spain seems to be like a middle ground for these things. So this gang apparently operated bases in Ireland and other countries from where they would export narcotics on ships, trucks and cars. And the Gardaí have helped take them down. So this is an Irish newspaper, so it will concentrate on the Gardaí. But I expect it's been a collaboration between all the different police organisms in the different countries. So a key figure linked to the record-breaking seizure of 16 tons at the port of Hamburg in 2021 has been arrested on Spain's Costa Blanca. Why do they always come to Spain? Bugger off and go somewhere else. You know, all these criminals. And it's by Policia Nacional in cooperation with Lithuanian police and Gardaí. A boss in the Lithuanian run crew, he was arrested in the Orihuela area of Alicante province as authorities targeted traffickers who had been importing drugs from South America and Morocco for onward distribution across Europe. He had been living discreetly in Orihuela, where he negotiated and organised transportation, Policia Nacional said, although he was always accompanied by 2 bodyguards. God. Seven others detained in Lithuania, 1 in Ireland. 25 searches in various countries resulted in the seizure of over €2 million in cash, 7 firearms, 103 kilos of marijuana, GPS detectors, and encrypted mobile phones. So the Lithuanian gang used Spain as an auxiliary base for the purchase of large quantities of hashish, cocaine, and marijuana. God. So this is some of the evidence that was found. Look at all that money. My God. It's a lot of money. A lot of money, isn't it? Goodness me. Mucho dinero. So meanwhile, they operated bases in Ireland and other countries from where they would export narcotics on ships, trucks and cars. However, joint investigations set up after the 2021 Hamburg cocaine seizure led the authorities to Spain and Lithuania, where the gang was based. So anyway, that's what sort of started. So this is a big thing. You know, I mean, I don't know if you'll ever get to the bottom of these things, because as they arrest one person, break up one gang, will another one just pop up? I don't know. But of course, chaos in that gang, of course. And there's what does it say? The loss of 16 kisses is the name they use for the stash due to its weight. Anyway, investigations revealed that this group had been moving between 4 and 7 tons of cocaine every month, and Spain and Ireland had served as auxiliary bases for their drug trafficking business. Look, so we've got all those guns, bullets. Oh, it makes me go cold to think that people have just got these guns. Anyway, that gang has been broken up, so that's good, isn't it? So I just wanted to show you. We're going to have a look about John George now. So for those of you that can remember, and I'm sure you can, John George, this was the Irish guy who seemed to be involved somehow in some of these, in the drug world possibly, but, you know, it'll all come out in the trial when it finally happens, I suppose. Poor John, there's talk that he may have been lured out deliberately to be murdered from Northern Ireland to the Alicante area, to the Orihuela Costa area. Anyway, whatever the background is as to why it happened in the first place, he disappeared, he went missing. His family were told that he was probably deceased and they would be looking for his body. His family came out to look for him. Unfortunately, they were looking in completely the wrong place because they were led on a merry song and dance, weren't they? Told he was in places where he wasn't. And, you know, John George, it's, you know, we can see he wasn't, from his history, wasn't an angel. His family never pretended he was an angel, but it did not deserve to have happened to him what happened to him. And they did not deserve to have to go through all that. This all happened over Christmas, New Year, while other people were celebrating their Christmas and New Year. John George's family were searching around a foreign country in the wrong place, fighting against the language barrier, you know, all those things. Anyway, finally, one of the people that have been arrested in connection with John's murder told the Guardia Civil where John was. He was nowhere near where they'd been looking. He was miles away in a lemon grove on a private finca. His body had just been dumped there. He'd been stabbed, he'd been stripped, he'd been shot twice. I mean, it was just terrible. But at least they got to find him. They took him home, they buried him, and now, of course, it's all about waiting for the court case. 2 people were arrested in conjunction with John's murder, one of which went on the run before he got arrested. And as a result of that, he's not been granted bail. Johnny Smith, he won't get bail because he ran off, you know. I mean, I don't know who killed John. I wasn't there who actually did the killing, but it seems like, you know, they all knew something about it. And of course, while he was on the run, Johnny married his 19-year-old girlfriend, Madison, who's an OnlyFans model. And I know sometimes, you know, I do feel sorry for Madison. But I think it's just because of her age. I mean, she does seem a bit oblivious to everything. So anyway, she's had death threats, apparently, many death threats. I know on the Facebook pages, they seem to have calmed down now. On Facebook, there's been, you know, somebody stirring up problems on there, all these anonymous posters. Now, I'm not saying Madison's an angel. Obviously, she isn't, you know, and I don't know if Johnny Smith killed John George or not. It probably did, but then that's for the courts to decide, isn't it? But the thing is, Madison has not been arrested. But while they were on the run, they got married. And that means that Madison now cannot be called to give evidence against her husband. It also means that while he's in prison, they get conjugal visits. I think it's once a month or whatever. And apparently, according to her, because she's all over her social media things, TikTok, etc., like most young girls, but, you know, of course, it must be pretty galling for John George's family. It might be more respectful, really, to just stay off social media till it's all sorted out. But do you know what? It's her life. I can't tell her what to do. It doesn't seem very respectful because somebody is dead. You know, whether she believes her Johnny did it or didn't do it, or whether what she knew, what she didn't know. You know, you have to have a respect for families of people who, you know, they're mourning their loss. And maybe she'll only realise that if she does end up having children from these conjugal visits in prison. Maybe one day she'll, you know, I mean, I hope she doesn't have to find out what it's like to lose a child, whatever age they are. But maybe she's just too young to get her head around it at the moment. But so, of course, this is Madison. She's a very beautiful girl, very, very attractive girl. And, you know, I'm not against her doing her OnlyFans or her Instagram or her TikTok. That's her life to live as she feels fit. But you just think, you know, somebody has been murdered here. This is not a game. You know, this is a life that has been taken in a very violent and brutal way. Maybe, you know, it might be better just tone it down just until it's at least resolved. But anyway, as I say, it's her life to live. I can't tell her what to do. But she apparently, according to, and this is from a couple of weeks, I just haven't had time to bring this article because of everything else going on with the Erin Patterson thing. She's called the police apparently because she's been told she will be murdered. according to her. So Madison Smith, of course, she is now, because she's married to Johnny Smith, the wife of Newton Abbey man Johnny Smith, who's currently being held in Spain in connection with the December murder of John George, has been made aware of a sick plot where she would be murdered and her death would be made to look like suicide. I mean, I don't know, surely maybe the best way to deal with that is not, well, unless she's going public with it in case anything ever happens to her and then, you know, she's put it out there. Do you think that's why she's going public with it all? I don't know. Or maybe she should have been quiet about it. I don't know. Well, she has to do what she wants to do, doesn't she? So that's apparently what she's saying. Friends of the 19-year-old who's, I can't believe she's 19. She's, you know, I must be old school. You know, when I was 19, I just wasn't doing these kind of things. But anyway, never mind. It was a different world then. So she's been made aware of a sick plot where she'd been murdered and her death would be made to look like suicide. And friends... So he's awaiting a decision from the Spanish judicial system as to whether he'll be charged or not. Well, that could go on for years, to be honest. So she says she was made aware of a plot where her would-be killers were tracking her movements by mobile phone. She's also been the subject, and this was another thing, she's been the subject of shocking false claims this week by online trolls, including a completely untrue allegation that she RAPD'd Belfast man Dan McMeekin. Now Dan, of course, he's just been stabbed. You know, Dan McMeekin, he was involved in this. He was stabbed and seriously injured in Spain. Again in the Orihuela Costa, just round the corner from where John was murdered, after he was accused of being aware that the 37-year-old father of two was going to be attacked, but failed to inform him or the family. Who's him? Oh, to inform he didn't give John the heads up, apparently. So anyway, again, I don't know all the details of that. I'm not getting involved with that. But it just seems like, and it says, while McMeekin was stabbed, he was not subjected to any SEX attack at any point. So what these anonymous trolls are saying on Facebook is that Madison RAPD'd him with I think it was a rolling pin or something. You know, just this case, it must be just horrible for all the families because it just gets worse and worse. And then in one twisted message, an anonymous account claimed Madison had already been got. Now, the thing is, I don't know who's making those anonymous posts because they're anonymous. But you know, why would you do that? Why would you do it? Is it just someone just trying to stir things up? Or is it someone, you know, in the sort of, I don't think it, I think it's just someone trying to stir things up. So give it a few hours, that wee girl that tracks and clones phones got her, yeah. You heard it here first. Keep watching, it will be made to look like self-deletion and let her lies die with her. Karma is the biggest bitch and she deserves what she's in for. And this is Dan, of course. You know, this is all just very sad. I think I think there's going to be more tragedy in this case. Or it feels like it. So an account later posts a shocking and completely unfounded claim that Madison RAPD'd Dan McMeekin. And the account writes, after John was murdered, Dan McMeekin was beat and Little Miss Daddy issues, removed his trousers and boxers and RAP'd him with a kitchen roll holder. It's all on video. And as the saying goes, what doesn't come out in the wash comes out in the rinse. Anyway, the PSNI confirmed they were investigating the online abuse following a complaint. Inquiries are ongoing. Now, Madison is still in Spain, I think. She said she won't go back to Northern Ireland. You know, I'm a bit speechless on the whole thing. So, you know, I hope she's okay. I really do hope she's okay. The same with Dan. Don't want anybody not to be okay, because it's just don't want any more tragedy. There's already been a tragedy. Shouldn't be any more tragedy now. It just needs to be, you know, the court case, find out who did it, give them the justice that they you know, they're looking at, sort of the justice that they deserve. But all these extra things, it's not good, is it? So they said they've also posted online that she RAPED Dan McMeekin. It's completely sick. Madison was a friend of Dan's and tried to help him when he was struggling. Because Dan, of course, he is an addict, you know, and he needs help too. Just think, God, where are these people's families? Both her and Johnny's mum, Dawn, have had nothing but abuse and lies about how they were both somehow involved in covering up John's murder. You know, and I don't know. I don't know who killed John. I don't know what the reason for it was, if there was a reason. Anyway, the Spanish police apparently have made it clear they're not interested in either of them as having anything to do with the murder of John George. Madison is gutted that this keeps going on and just wants the truth to come out so people can see. But, you know, to be fair, Madison, you are a lot on social media, and you are attracting attention to yourself. The allegations are bizarre, from Dawn cleaning up a murder scene and laundering criminal money to Madison, RAPING, and Dan, is complete madness. And, you know, at the heart of it, all that matters is this man is dead. This man is dead, and there needs to be justice for who, you know, coming for the people that killed him. That's all that matters. They have to let the Guardia get on with it. The Guardia will do a good job. They just do it in their own way. So they seem to want to keep it all in the public eye, but Dawn and Madison have never been suspects in what happened to John George. It's got nothing to do with them. Johnny and Michael Malley, the other suspect, are grown men, so whatever happened, let the court sort it out. Now, I do agree with that. Let the court sort it out. So there's all sorts of legal proceedings going on in Ireland. Dawn's house has been allegedly targeted in an arson attack. A car was set alight. Pipe bombs were left near her home. I mean, you know, again, and one thing that is definitely true is Dan McMeekin was stabbed. Now, whether his stabbing was anything to do with the John George case or not is not clear, is it? And he said he knows who did it, but he won't give their name because he's probably terrified. So, you know, I just wanted to give you a bit of an update on it. I mean, she is a very attractive girl, Madison. You can't say she isn't. But it's, you know, just a shame, really, that she doesn't, you know, do something a bit more maybe different with her looks. But anyway. So, yeah, Dan was attacked in the early hours of Sunday, June the 15th, in Lasegna, near Torrevieja, an area I know very well. And he's not the only person that's been attacked there. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of murders, attacks, you name it, it's happened there. And he's not an angel either, Dan McMeekin. He's got a criminal record. He's a drug addict. He's got a series of convictions for domestic abuse. You know, so just it's a horrible situation, isn't it? Horrible situation. Anyway, I'm going to finish with that there now. Just wanted to let you know what was going on. I'll give you any updates as they come in. Can you all hear me okay? I haven't gone off, have I? You've all gone very quiet in chat. Where's the chat? Where's the chat? You've all gone so quiet. Hello, Bluebell. Hello. Like, because there's quite a lot of people watching, but the chat was so quiet. They're all waiting for Erin Patson. Well, you have to wait a little bit longer yet. Now then, what we're going to talk about now is another Australian case. And don't forget, these cases are all as important as each other to the victims and their families. And of course, I know different people are interested in different cases. That's, how it is. So what we're going to look at now is this case of Hannah McGuire. And this is a trial that has started this week. Again, we're only going to look at it briefly, just look at what's happening, because we started off with following this case at the time when Samantha Murphy case has gone quiet. The trial is not until next year. Oh my God, next May, I think it is, or April or something. So still a long way to go for Samantha Murphy's trial. But Hannah McGuire, who was actually murdered after Samantha Murphy, the trial for her ex-partner has begun. Now, I'm just going to get some more ice for my drink. I'm going to put up my Be Right Back. I'll see you in about 9 seconds. I'll see you in 9 seconds. Well, less than that. No more. Bit more than 9 seconds. I won't be able to go to the loo and put ice in my drink, get new drink in 9 seconds. Give me 3 minutes. I'll move the dogs out of the way first. God, every time I try and walk anywhere, there's a dog in front of me. Excuse me. Move. Okay, I'm back. Oh, wrong one. Hang on. Hi. So I'm back. I didn't have a bathroom break in the end. I just got some ice and a drink. So yeah, this is Hannah McGuire. Oh, yeah. Bluebell's washing the dish through floor. I quite often do that with podcasts, just put them on in the background, isn't it? Like, where it's just whiles away the boredom while you're doing something like that. But anyway, bless. So this is Hannah. Now, the first thing I thought about this case is the guy, ex-boyfriend, Lachlan or something he's called, we'll see in a minute. I don't really ever bother trying to remember his name properly. He was punching far above his weight. Why do they like these horrible, she seems like such a lovely, same old story, lovely girl, beautiful, nice person. And she got involved. I think it's when they're young, they get involved, girls when they're young, like Madison, probably with Johnny Smith, get involved with wrong-uns, don't they? Because it seems like, I don't know, exciting when you're young. And then when you get a little bit older, you just think, oh my God, what did I ever see in him? And probably the other way around as well with men with women. You grow out of people, don't you? See, some people never grow any different. Some people, when they're in high school or whatever, They never change, even 20 years later, they're just the same, just the same twonk that they were in high school. But other people, they grow up, don't they? And they change and they become different people. And then, of course, sometimes they've got involved in a relationship and they can't get out of it. That's what I feel happened to Hannah. So here is Hannah with Lachlan. I mean, come on. What did she ever see in him? Or maybe he's one of those narcissists that in the beginning he was so nice and everything, and then before she realised what a twonk he was, it was too late, because they bought a house together. They had a house together. So very sad, isn't it? And of course she paid for a relationship with him, with her life. So let's have a look. Let me put the other windows down now, things that I've finished talking about. What's that? Got so many windows open as usual. Gosh, he's got all these blooming Erin Patterson windows open. Okay, there it is. So I'll be following this trial. Just every couple of days I'll give you an update. I'm hoping it won't be so lengthy, and as the Erin Patterson trial, and hopefully it'll be more clear cut. But of course, it's only allegedly at the moment. So Lachlan is innocent till he's proven guilty. So do you know what he's saying? He's saying that he did kill her, but it was an accident. It wasn't murder. Was not murder. So even though this man, after she was dead, he was sending messages, and he tried to make it look like suicide. Oh, sorry, I'm not supposed to say that word probably, but anyway. Let's have a look at this news article.
The jury has heard harrowing new details about Hannah McGuire's life in the months and days before her death as her ex-boyfriend faces trial for murder. Ainsley Kosh with the details from Ballarat Supreme Court, and she joins us now. Ainsley, today the jury is expected to learn more about the area where Hannah spent her final days.
Yes, Tash, we just heard the jury is set to visit key locations relevant to this case this afternoon, including Hannah McGuire's home where she was allegedly murdered and bushland where her body was dumped and set alight. Yesterday, the jury heard harrowing details about Hannah McGuire's life in the months leading up to her death as the prosecution and defence gave their opening arguments on day one of the trial. Now, that includes how her relationship with her boyfriend, Lachlan Young, became controlling and turbulent. Young is on trial accused of murdering the 23-year-old after he knew their relationship was over. The 22-year-old admits to killing her in April last year, but his defence team will argue it wasn't premeditated. Rather, it was unplanned and spontaneous. Now, the prosecution alleged the accused staged her death to look like a suicide, sending himself and her mother texts from Hannah's phone in the hours after she died in an effort to cover his tracks.
He's a real nice guy, isn't he? A real nice guy. She outgrew him. That's what I think happened. She trained to be a teacher. She was better than him. She was always better than him. And when she realised she was better than him, he started getting, clingy, and he wouldn't accept that the relationship that was over. And he's killed her because out of anger and spite, because he knew that he couldn't have her and he didn't want anyone else to have her. That's really the crux of this trial, in my opinion. Allegedly, of course. But he's innocent till proven guilty. But, when somebody takes charge of someone's mobile phone and starts sending texts to their parents and to themselves, saying they're going to kill themselves to try and cover up for when she's already dead, he's already killed her. Doesn't look very good, does it, for a not guilty verdict?
We know a number of key witnesses will begin evidence from tomorrow. Tash, this trial is set to go for 5 weeks.
Ainsley, thank you.
So, yes, it's set to go exactly as they did. Excuse me. I've got a frog in my throat. Definitely wasn't an accident, you know. So apparently, allegedly, he killed her at home. And then he took her body out, and because, you know, I remember it so clearly because for those of you who were with me when we were covering the Samantha Murphy case, you know, there was sort of, among when it was heard that a body had been found in a car, etc. You know, there was this sort of instant, oh, could that be Samantha Murphy? Because, of course, Samantha Murphy still has not been found, has she, bless her? Her remains have not been found, but her murderer has been charged, or alleged murderer has been charged. And yeah, as I say, 3 murders in Ballarat of 3 women, all at once within the first couple of months of last year. Whereas Ballarat normally in Australia is a very safe place. You know, everybody said, you know, it's one of those places. You know, we hear it a lot, don't we? People say, oh, nothing like that ever happens here. This is a safe place. Anyway, so that's Hannah's case. And I just hope, you know, I mean, I don't think this will be as complex as obviously Erin Patterson's case was. Unless his defence come out with something spectacular, how's he going to defend himself? You know, he sent the text, supposedly from her, text to himself, saying that he was going to kill him. She was, as if it was her saying she was going to kill herself. Text that he sent to her parents or to her mum, and he'd already killed her. And then he took her body out and burnt it as if she took. So is he really trying to say that that's how she self-deleted? She drove herself out to the middle of the forest or the bush, set fire to herself. Sorry, I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because how ridiculous it is. But, you know, that's what these defences come up with, isn't it? They come up with absolute tripe sometimes. You know, he should just admit he was jealous. She was leaving him and he flipped. You know, of course, he's going to get prison time. But anyway, it's good, really, because hopefully he'll get more prison time if he's found guilty. Because he tried to lie to cover it up, you know. What piece of shit he is. So I bet his parents are really proud of him, aren't they? So, because the thing is, he's wrecked his life as well. He's wrecked her life, and she's one of those. She had so much to offer. She was a teacher. She had all this to offer to the world. Not only, obviously, her loved ones are missing her, but the world is missing her. Society in Ballarat misses her because they've lost someone who would have made a positive contribution. Not like that twonk, her boyfriend. Sorry, I'm just taking my vitamin tablets. I've got to take them while I remember, because otherwise I forget. I hate taking tablets. They're the tiniest little tablets you can imagine, and I still hate taking them. So that's what I wanted to tell you about Hannah. Bless her. You know, just heartbreaking, isn't it? Because such a beautiful girl, and she couldn't keep herself safe. You know, she did contact the police. She had told people about, you know, this twonk. And unfortunately, she'll be a big loss. Not only, as I say, to her family and her loved ones, but she's a loss to the Ballarat community. She's a loss to the world. Bless her. Okay, so now we're going to talk about Erin. Yeah. Hi, David. Yeah, nobody wants Colin Mandy as a defence lawyer, do they? Having said that, I honestly think, I don't think Colin Mandy's heart was in it the more I think back. Well, he had no defence anyway. Let's just change. So we're praying for justice anyway for Hannah and her family. That's, you know, the same justice that we got for Erin's victims, who I'm going to put up there now. Oops, sorry, I want to put not the big picture, the little picture. So yeah, now we come to Erin. But let's have a look actually at something supposedly Erin said in the first couple of days of her trial, because of course it starts off with the opening arguments, doesn't it? And the prosecutor, oh, what a brilliant prosecutor she was, wasn't she, Nanette Rogers? She did so well. I mean, she had a lot more to work with, I suppose. 50 witnesses, experts, hospital staff, you name it, Nanette Rogers, she provided it, didn't she? She prosecuted this case brilliantly, because really it was all circumstantial evidence, but it was all those little bits of circumstantial evidence that all conspired to become a massive bit of circumstantial evidence, didn't it? Which is what prosecuted her. Oh, hey, Princess, good to see you back. Hope you're well. Thank you so much. Let's put the thank you on. Yes, members live tonight. We're going to chat about ghosts tonight. I've got an interesting ghost story to tell you. And of course, I think we might watch, I don't know, some body cam. Or you let me know, you members, of course, let me know if there's anything in particular you want to talk about. Last week we talked about UFOs. But yeah, I've got an interesting ghost story tonight to see what you make of it. But anyway, thank you, Princess. Good to see you back. And you're welcome whether you're a member or not, of course. But it's nice to see you as a member as well. Nice to see you in the members later. Right. Oh. Mushroom. Hi, Excel. Thank you, Excel. Yeah, Mushroom Queen of Cell Block Tea. Do you know, the more I hear about the prison, and the only problem is I do think Erin is going to quite enjoy being in prison. I've just got this feeling. That doctor said, didn't he, that she's probably already established herself in the hierarchy of the prison. You know, she'd be like the top dog, won't she, wandering around, because she's got the money and she's so manipulative. And the other thing I was thinking about Erin is, you know how everybody keeps saying, oh, she's so intelligent and she's this, that and the other. But, you know, sorry, thank you for that, Excel. Intelligence is relative, isn't it, at the end of the day? I mean, if you in prison, she probably will be one of the most intelligent, because no offense, probably a lot of people that she'll come up against in prison, they're probably not that intelligent. And then, you know, all these people that she's known, to me, Erin, if she was such a genius and that, but she never finished anything off, did she? Like, why wasn't she moving in those sort of circles like her sister, you know, being a geologist and being good in her field? Erin sort of drifts, doesn't she? I think people think she's intelligent because she just talks as if she is. Maybe she uses a load of big words and it just sounds like she's so intelligent. But I think if she was in an environment that was full of intelligent people, like, what's the word, like in a university setting or in some sort of highbrow type, I think Erin would soon get found out as not. Look how that doctor sussed her out straight away. You know, you can presume that he's quite intelligent, being a doctor. He sussed her out immediately. I just think people, Erin, how can I put this? I don't mean to be rude to people, but I think Erin sort of almost persuaded people that she was intelligent. She clearly is not as intelligent as she thinks she is, or how other people think she is she? Anyway, where are we going first? Right, we're going to look at this video first, I think, how she was caught. Let's look at this first. Let me share it. Yeah, she thinks she's intelligent, but she's actually not. And then, of course, she's persuaded other people. But I think in prison, she will be like the top dog. I do think that.
And I can't believe that this has happened, and I'm so sorry that they have lost their lives.
This is all the evidence that convicted Erin Patterson. Let's start with the meal itself. These are the leftover beef Wellingtons police pulled from Erin's bin 2 days after the lunch. Instead of making one large Wellington, Erin served individual portions, claiming she couldn't find eye fillet at Woolies. But prosecutors said it meant she could control exactly what went into each serve. All 4 guests became violently ill within 24 hours. 3 died, 1 barely survived, but Erin only had mild symptoms.
I'm so devastated by what's happened, by the loss of Don. Don is still in hospital, the loss of Ian and Heather and Gail.
Mum's final text message on our family group chat as she lay in Dandenong Hospital was, "Lots of love to you all."
A chemical analysis confirmed traces of beta-amanitin, which is the lethal toxin found in death cap mushrooms. Erin told the court she scraped mushroom paste off her own serve and fed the leftovers to her kids the next day. But prosecutors said the kids never ate them. Police searched Erin's tablet device. They learnt she had a long-standing interest in fungi, including
A long-standing interest in fungi. Oh, not really. You know, she never spoke to any of her friends about it or that. She'd been planning this for, I think, Erin, because she was this super sleuth involved in the true crime groups. Maybe she was sort of fascinated with crime. Maybe she was like trying to create the perfect crime. People do that. You know, unbelievably, sometimes people just want to do it just to prove they can. And she picked these lovely, innocent people. This is what, to me, it's why I hate her so much. Because those people that she murdered, they were just such nice people. You know, why didn't she go and murder some twonk? Why didn't she do a Dexter? You know, like Dexter, who only murdered other murderers. Why didn't she do that? Why did you have to murder the nicest people you can imagine? Just nice people who helped her. That makes her, you know, even triple evil, because she's, because they were easy to murder. You know, they were looking forward to that lunch, weren't they? So she picked the easy ones, just like that Southport attacker did, picking children because they're easy to kill, aren't they? You wouldn't pick some great big bloke to go and try and stab, would he? And that's it with Erin. She picked the most vulnerable people. And I think she did it. I honestly think she just did it because she thought she could. Like, just because she's a complete psycho. And yeah, Friday, lots of things coming out now, aren't there, about Erin? There'll be, like what that doctor said, you know, about him knowing that she was a psychopath from the minute he met her. I mean, that's fascinating, really, isn't it? He's an intelligent person. He saw through her straight away. And not only that, maybe he's a bit more of a savvy person. So I'm not saying that Erin's relatives weren't intelligent, but they were so trusting. You know, so, you know, some people are more cynical, aren't they? But they would never have seen any bad in anyone because that's not the type of people they were. What a bitch. Absolute bitch.
Photos of wild mushrooms dating back to 2020. Then they found this, a photo of yellow-tinged mushrooms being weighed on a kitchen scale. A fungi expert said he was highly confident they were death caps. Phone data showed Erin had travelled to areas where death caps grow, including the town of Lock, where the same mushrooms had been logged on a citizen science website just weeks earlier. Prosecutors accused Erin of calculating the weight required for the administration of a fatal dose for one person.
Yeah, so these are the pictures that the jury saw. We didn't get to see these during the trial, but, you know, and they were the ones that Funky Tom said. You remember the fungi expert? He said they were highly likely that they were deaf. And she was measuring them. She was measuring the right, weighing out the amount. Now, when you're making, you know, using normal mushrooms, why would you have to weigh them? You just stick them in, wouldn't you? You dry them out and you know, blitz them with a mixer or whatever. You wouldn't have to weigh them. She's weighing them because you know, she's trying to work out, you know, the right amount. She may well have misjudged the amount. As I say, she may not have meant to kill them. That's the only thing I think to myself sometimes. But she meant to make them really ill at the very, you know, the best case scenario. Whether she actually meant to kill them, I don't know, but she definitely wanted to make the meal. She's nasty.
Erin denied this. So how did she get her guests to lunch? The prosecution said Erin pretended she had cancer in order to lure them there. Erin later admitted this was a lie, saying she used the cancer story because she was embarrassed to tell her family she was planning weight loss surgery. This is the diary of Gail Patterson, Erin's ex-mother-in-law. Gail marked the date for lunch at Erin's on July 29, 2023.
I always find this so sad to look at it because it's empty, that diary. There's nothing in there, and then she's got in there lunch at Erin's. I mean, it's not a full diary, is it? They would probably do, sometimes as you get older. I think they just had, such sort of, what's the word, normal lives, like probably quiet lives now their kids were grown and what have you. I mean, I presume they had grandchildren or whatever. I mean, of course, Ian did his sermons and things. I wonder why that wasn't in there. Why was that in there? Because I think that was in the diary like that because they were so pleased about it. It just fills me with sadness to see that. They were excited about having been invited round to Erin Moneybag's house.
Little knowing that this would be her last meal. This is the dining table where the lunch was served. Ian Wilkinson sat at the head of the table and led the group in prayer for Erin's supposed cancer. A key part of the trial, though, was the plates. Erin said she used a mix of plates, but Ian testified that all the guests had white plates, and Erin had a separate orange small one. A recipe tin eats cookbook was also found in her kitchen. Erin said she got the recipe from this book, but added the mushrooms because she thought it tasted bland. Then came the screenshots, Erin's private texts and social media chats, which were used to argue she had a motive. In court, Erin described her relationship with Don and Gail as loving, but in online chats with friends, she vented viciously about her ex-husband Simon and his family, describing them as a lost cause. Prosecutors described the messages as bitter.
Hey, what's going on here? She's got a suitcase here. Let's just watch that.
Them as a lost cause. Prosecutors described.
I wonder where she was going there with that suitcase. She's probably moving out of that house because she was sick of people coming round. Or maybe that was when she was arrested. She rarely wears different clothes, to be honest. So for all the money, she certainly doesn't spend it on clothes, that's for sure.
The messages as bitter and angry, suggesting the divide between Patterson and her in-laws ran deeper than they ever knew. During the trial, Erin said she regretted sending them. Then there were the texts with Facebook friends. Erin talked about blitzing mushrooms into food so that her children wouldn't notice.
Yeah, this did it for me. I think this was the first time. No, because as I've said before, I probably was leaning towards she was guilty before the trial even started. Because as I say, for them to get it to trial, it's probably 80% certain that somebody is guilty. Because otherwise, they won't manage to get it to trial in the first place. But I think what did it, this was a significant moment for me. I've been hiding powdered mushrooms in everything. Mixed it into chocolate brownies yesterday. The kids had no idea. Why would you even do that? Why? These were all tests. These were all tests to see if it could be, not obviously death cap mushrooms, but see if, they could be sort of dried, powdered and put into things and they wouldn't be noticed. Could you imagine her watching them eating at that meal? God. She was loving it, wasn't she? She was watching them eating, knowing what they were eating and smirking inside. She's going to go down. The more it comes out, that it's just going to go down in history as one of the most evil killers ever. Just like Myra Hindley, or someone like that, female killers. Really, really nasty. To sit there and watch them eat it, knowing what they were eating.
She also sent photos of mushrooms being dehydrated. The prosecution claimed she was dehydrating the button mushrooms as practice, so as not to waste the real ones. This CCTV footage was a crucial part of the investigation, the toilet stop. The day after the lunch, Erin...
So here's the toilet stop. What was she getting rid of? She said she was getting rid of, because, she supposedly went to the toilet in the bush on the way there, and she was she'd cleaned herself up and she was getting rid of the tissues. I'm sorry, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't take that. You would just, if you got caught short and you had to go to the toilet in the bush, you're not going to clear up after yourself, are you? How are you going to clear up diarrhea anyway? I mean, sorry to go into brutal details, but you're certainly not then going to go into a toilet and get rid of, do you know what I mean? What was she getting rid of? She was getting rid of something. This is the toilet stop.
Takes her son to a nearby town for a flying lesson. She stops at a service station along the way to use the bathroom. She's seen pulling up to the station, entering the building and walking to the bathroom. And just 9 seconds later, she comes out. Erin claims she'd fallen ill with stomach issues after the lunch. The prosecution said she would have spent longer in the toilet if she was experiencing diarrhea. In court, she said she'd had an emergency road.
She would have spent longer in the toilet if she was just having a wee. Can't have a wee in 9 seconds. What? Get your trousers down, get your knickers down, have your wee, then clean up, wash your hands. So can't do that in 9 seconds. You certainly can't have diarrhea and go to the loo in 9 seconds. This again, did she really think people would believe that? You know, she is a thicko, you know. She forgot about CCTV, and she's, you know, she just didn't sort of, I think she was looking around at things to eat as well, which you just wouldn't be doing if you've got a bad tummy.
Side bowel movement in the bushes and only entered the gas station toilet to dispose of soiled tissues. Then she went to Leongatha Hospital, complaining of stomach pain. She was assessed by emergency doctor Chris Webster, who told the trial that at the time, he feared she'd been exposed to a potentially lethal dose of death cap mushrooms. But against medical advice, Erin discharged herself just 5 minutes later. She then stopped answering her phone, prompting Dr. Webster to call 000. Here's an excerpt from that call.
This is Dr. Chris Webster calling from Leongatha Hospital, and I have a concern regarding a patient that presented here earlier but has left the building and is potentially exposed to a fatal toxin from mushroom poisoning, and I've tried several times to get hold of her on her mobile phone.
Prosecutors said Erin left the hospital not out of fear, but because she knew she wasn't poisoned and wanted time to get her story straight. And finally came one of the most damning discoveries of all, the dehydrator. At first, Erin told police she didn't own one, but it turned out she'd purchased a brand new Sunbeam model just 3 months before the lunch. Here's the receipt. Just days after the lunch, she was
$230 more or less for this. That's her receipt for it. So that was the other thing. She paid for things by card as well. You know, like if she was a proper clever person, she would have paid in cash, wouldn't she? So there was no trace of it. I don't know. No. Why is her name and address on this? You know, why did she get an invoice? Anyway. Yeah, she's a total thicko. And I agree with you, Julia. I think she may already be a serial killer. You know, I mean, sometimes people are calling it, I don't think that's serial killer when you kill people all at once like that. That's not supposed, but she could have killed other people. I'd be wanting to know how her grandma died and her mum and dad and anyone who's dead in Erin's entourage. And then, of course, Simon with his severe illness. They all need investigating. And now, at first, I felt sorry for her kids. But now, I still feel sorry for them because it's not nice to know your mum's a murderer. But I'm glad now I was thinking, God, they've lost their mum. But she's a mum you'd be glad to lose because I wouldn't put anything past Erin. You know, when when those kids get older and they start defying her, what might she have done to them? I don't think she'd be above anything, to be honest. Yeah, and that's a good point, Claire. You would not wear white pants if you've got diarrhea. You just wouldn't. Apart from the fact you probably wouldn't even leave the house, but you certainly wouldn't wear white pants. You know, so... right, let's carry on.
Was captured on CCTV dumping the dehydrator in the bin. Police discovered the device and tested it. It had traces of death cap mushroom residue still inside. In court, Erin claimed she'd mistakenly mixed forage mushrooms into the store-bought.
Forage mushrooms. Do you think this is AI? Because it's foraged, isn't it? Foraged mushrooms. She wears white pants a lot, though. I don't know if they're the same white pants. I mean, why shouldn't she? But, you know, I'm quite bottom heavy. I would never wear white pants, just whether I've got diarrhea or not. Do you know, it's always black at the bottom because, do you know what I mean? She's like, seeing how she was supposed to be bothered about her body image and that, she doesn't dress to flatter her body shape, does she? You know, she's supposed to be really conscious about her body image. But there she is. I don't even think she is conscious. I don't think she cares about her body image, you know, what other people think of it, because I think Erin is just so superior in every way. She doesn't care. But I'm telling you what, I would never wear white pants, ever, but certainly not if I had a tummy upset. But I just wouldn't anyway, because it just make my legs look, my bottom look bigger. So, yeah, she's a strange one, isn't she?
And then panicked, destroyed the evidence, and lied to police out of fear she'd lose custody of her kids. The jury didn't buy it. Erin Patterson showed no emotion as the guilty verdict was read out. She didn't stand as the jury left the room. The judge thanked the jury for their service, acknowledging the complexity and emotional weight of this particular case, particularly given the public interest. Their verdict ended a nearly 2-month trial that gripped the country and drew international media to the small town of Morwell. Crowds lined up for hours to get a seat inside the courtroom. In the end, the case didn't end with a confession or an eyewitness. It was this mountain of evidence that sealed Erin's fate.
Yeah. So I'm going to put that one down. There's another window I can put down. God, I've got that many. Oh, where can I find it? I think that was the one, wasn't it, that I just watched? Okay, now we're going to look at this one where Erin apparently on the first day said, do I have to keep suffering through this? When Nanette Rogers started her opening arguments, Erin just lost it right at the beginning of the trial, apparently. Now, this is going to make you angry because this, and I think this will just shows how she's so up her own ass. So, Australian woman Erin Patterson has now been found guilty and faces life in prison. It is the outburst the jury never heard, but which would quietly define the first days of Patterson's murder trial. It was April the 30th and the prosecution was only an hour into laying out its case against the killer cook when the mother of two hissed at her defence team from the dock in courtroom 4. Do I have to keep suffering through this? She cried out. Poor Erin. Oh, poor Diddon. She had to keep suffering through it. Oh. So the court just adjourned for a mid-morning break after senior Crown prosecutor Dr. Nanette Rogers, heroine, laid out a damning allegation against Patterson that during the July 2023 lunch she had eaten from a different coloured plate to her 4 guests, all of whom had fallen gravely ill. With all 15 jurors now gone, Patterson sat between 2 security guards with her head tilted up and her eyes closed, surrounded by her legal team, who had rushed over to placate her. Stay in the present, defence barrister Colin Mandy reminded her, before asking if she was familiar with German spiritual teacher Eckhart Tolle's self-help book, The Power of Now, A Guide to Spiritual Enlightenment. Sorry, Colin, it's too late for Erin. It's too late for Erin's spiritual enlightenment. She doesn't believe in anything anyway. She only believes in herself and her own superiority over everybody. But anyway, good try, Colin. Colin's trying to help her. So it was unclear whether her distress was linked to the trial or her living conditions inside the Morwell police station cells, which had become a source of annoyance for her barely a day into the proceedings. The previous afternoon, Colin Mandy had lodged an extraordinary appeal with Supreme Court Justice Christopher Beale asking for special treatment for his client and arguing that the defence was unable to do its job properly if Patterson was suffering. Oh my God. Oh my God. Who cares about her suffering? I mean, I've got to be fair. She was, Julie, she was still technically innocent then because the crime, she hadn't been found guilty. Yeah. Good God. Good God. The defence was unable to do its job properly if Patterson was suffering. Whatever. So the source of Patterson's discomfort was the fact she was not allowed to have a laptop or writing materials in her cell. She had not been given a duvet and a pillow for her bed. She wanted access to a laptop to review the brief of evidence in the case, which was tens of thousands of pages. Now, do you know what? So Don, Gail, Heather and Ian, they didn't get access to a laptop or a duvet or a pillow. You know, 3 of them are dead. Ian's probably got his duvet and his pillow now, but he's been through hell. Been through hell. Who cares whether Erin's got a duvet or a pillow or not? Who cares whether she's got a laptop or not? Literally could not care less. Good. So it's like Stefan Stearns. Remember him complaining because he had to use a toilet roll for a pillow? As if anybody cares. Anybody cares what suffered, and his core temperature was down. Joe, we don't care. We care about your victims. That's who we care about. Anyway, despite a request to Corrections Victoria before her transfer from the Dame Phyllis Frost Centre, the women's maximum security prison in Melbourne, Patterson was told she wouldn't receive special treatment. Good. At some stage, she was given a blanket, but she spent the night cold and awake, Mandy said. She can't operate like that. Nobody cares, Colin. It's our submission that someone who is in police cells for 5 weeks, facing several murder trials, with a massive brief of evidence, should be afforded some accommodation. Because in some ways she requires special treatment so we can do our job properly. Oh my God. Oh, it's like Laurie Daybell as well, isn't it? You know, these cases all echo each other, don't they? You know, special treatment. Like the special treatment she gave Gail, Don, Ian and Heather. She gave them some special treatment, didn't she? The cells, which are housed in the police station next to the court, are used to hold accused criminals on remand until they can appear in court the following day or over the weekend. They are not staffed or designed to house prisoners for lengthy periods. Now, don't forget, Erin chose to have her case heard there. She could have gone to the Supreme Court. Then perhaps she would have got better accommodation there, maybe. So it's her own fault. Anyway, I don't care. I think your estimate of this trial was 4 weeks, Mr. Mandy Beale teased the defence barrister 26 days into the trial, as it became apparent the timeline was blowing out yet again. Don't believe a word he says, Your Honour. Prosecutor Rogers chimed in. There she is, our hero. So according to police, Patterson, who requested to be tried in Morwell, yeah, I've just said that, was aware of the living conditions at the station since at least June 2024, and eventually Colin Mandy dropped the matter after nearly 2 weeks of behind-the-scenes discussions, arguing that conditions in the cells for Patterson had improved. But Patterson's outbursts, requests, and dead stares at members of the press. She has got a dead stare, hasn't she? She's like a fish, like a shark. There's no emotion behind her eyes, only hate. That's what I see in Erin. And eyes, of course, are the windows to the soul. Let's have a look. Where's that picture I've got of her where she looks like a shark? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, There it is. God, I bet she was giving all the press that look. Oh, and you know, apparently after the verdict, and the judge thanked the jury and everything, and then normally people are supposed to stand up. Everyone stood up when the jury went out. She didn't stand. I bet she was giving him that look. I bet that was the look that the jury got as they were walking out. Evil woman. You can just see she's evil. So, yeah, Patterson's outburst requests and dead stares at members of the press seated inside the courtroom quietly continued. However, one of the most bizarre scenes of the trial was staged by Patterson's estranged husband and a key witness in the case, Simon Patterson, who embarked on an impassioned personal plea to Beale to be granted access to the trial and pre-trial transcripts to grieve the legal process. He said, "I have a small request for you, please. Your Honour, would you be able to make available, after all the legal proceedings are finished, the transcripts of those hearings, including the trial, for me to be able to, as I grieve the legal process, to help me deal with that grief? It will take me years." Do you know, I think Simon she's used coercive control on him, hasn't she? I do think Simon has been manipulated by Erin. You know, maybe he's just one of those people that's easy to manipulate. She's just like, you know, normally it's the other way, don't you see coercive control more from men to women? But it works both ways. You know, I think he can't probably quite get his head around the fact that she's murdered his family. Anyway, Beale reminded Simon he could sit in court after his evidence concluded and said he would consider his request. However, Simon took another punt after concluding his evidence 4 days later, and Justice Beale said, "Mr. Patterson, in relation to the matter you raised with me the other day about getting a transcript of the entire proceedings, it's a matter that I've yet to discuss with counsel. If it were to happen, it couldn't happen, in my view, until the conclusion of the criminal proceedings. I'm not just talking about the trial necessarily, because of course there could be an appeal, couldn't there? We don't know yet." And then Simon Patterson was again propelled into the limelight the following day when Beale told parties in the court he received information about Simon's plans to make a statement to the media following the conclusion of his evidence, a move that the judge warned against. Whatever his media advisor might be telling him, it seems to me the most prudent course for him is to defer any statement to the media until after the conclusion of the trial. And Simon did not refrain from attending court in person again. However, other members of the Patterson and Wilkinson families, including lunch survivor Ian Wilkinson, became a daily presence. And the mother of two's only supporter in court, gosh, that's that woman, isn't it? That Ali, is it? That we still don't know where they met or what their connection is, or I don't know anyway. I don't know if anybody else knows anymore. She sat behind Patterson's legal team on and off during the trial, sometimes bringing in takeaway coffees for the defence. There's a family tree. So the next twist came on May the 15th, when Justice Beale revealed a tip-off had come in through the court's general email inbox, dobbing in a juror for potentially discussing the case with friends and family. And Mr. Beale, Justice Beale, ordered juror 84 to pack up their belongings and be brought into court, where they were notified they'd been removed from the panel. A few months ago, I discharged juror number 84. I was of the view that it was at least a reasonable possibility that the information I'd received was credible, Justice Beale told the remaining jurors. I hasten to add that I have not made a positive finding that juror number 84 discussed the case with family and friends, but neither could I dismiss the possibility that he had. So the court impanelled 15 jurors, 3 more than 12 required, to ensure there are enough to deliver a verdict if someone fell ill or had to be excused. They were chosen from a pool of people who did not personally know the witnesses and had managed to avoid most of the barrage of podcasts, news reports and social media reels about the high-profile case, much of which made global news. Sorry. Need more ice again. 2 jurors were later balloted off just before they were sent out to deliberate. And in a highly unusual move for modern courts, the remaining jurors were sequestered, kept together night and day until the verdict was reached. So then it goes on to talk about these podcasts and things where that Justice Beale had commented on it, hadn't it? So the first problem came on May the 20th, when a TV news bulletin used the word damning to describe CCTV footage of Patterson spending 9 seconds in a petrol station. Well, it was damning though, isn't it? The second came just hours after they stepped into the witness box, when a forensic psychologist allegedly discussed the case during a lecture on the psychology of serial killers at Melbourne's. Sorry, I don't know why I'm laughing. There are things that have happened in this case, and this was described as an unmissable event, and the talk promised to delve into the minds of the world's most notorious murders, which hadn't been found guilty yet. The potential breach prompted Beale to get the court staff to ask the jurors whether they had attended any events or shows in Melbourne that weekend. To his relief, none had. There was one person who attended an event in Melbourne, and that was the soccer, Beale told the court. Yeah. Then in early June, influencer Constance Hall found herself in trouble after an online tirade about how something felt off about the case. And she worried Patterson might not have served the poison beef Wellingtons on purpose. She told her followers she had many photos of mushrooms on her phone, including with superimposed fairies underneath them. So as an example, I doubt it would be hard to build a case against me and mushrooms. But I guess I'd also never cook for my ex-in-laws. They didn't make it up. I mean, there was death cap mushrooms in there. Anyway, so basically, I don't think I'm going to... Oh, it's nearly finished. But, basically, influencers, social media people, myself included, but of course I'm only a tiny channel, but, they were saying things. You're never going to stop that. I don't think you're ever going to stop that. But it shouldn't affect the trial because the jury, they're told not to Google anything or look at anything. And if they do, that's their problem, their fault, isn't it, really? I think. Anyway. I've missed quite a lot of comments there, sorry. Everyone having a good whinge about, well, her nickname was Scudder the Nutter when she was young, wasn't it? Yeah. Hi. Yeah, Friday. Carol Ann Boone. It was very sad that actually because she was Bundy's wife, yeah, and she believed in him, didn't she, right up to the end? Because of course, finally he confessed. Ted Bundy admitted to what he'd done. And Carol Boone, who'd been supporting him, defending him for years, and his mother, she was another one, he confessed. So it must be awful, actually, mustn't it, when that happens? when you trust people. Anyway, I think you're all right. I've just had a little scan through chat, but there's quite a lot of it, so I can't look through all of it. Okay, right, what we're going to look at now. I've still got just a couple of other things to show you. I've done that one. Right, let's watch this one. Just put that one down. So yeah, poor Erin. So she was complaining about the conditions. Oh, I didn't. So I feel so sorry for her. Not.
She's intelligent. That's the take of a doctor who first came up against Erin Patterson's lies as her victims lay dying in hospital. The mushroom murderer, right now in jail, awaiting sentence. I'm Hugh Whitfeld. Welcome to The World. In this episode, we're going to pick apart some of the evidence that helped the jury decide Erin Patterson is a serial killer, not the innocent mum who mistakenly poisoned her family as she would have had them believe. And we're going to hear from a former prisoner who's just served 10 years, including alongside Erin Patterson, in a notorious Melbourne women's jail. Let's start, though, with that lunch. Served on July 29, 2023, sitting around this dinner table, praying, then eating, even receiving praise from her guests about how good the food tasted, Erin Patterson, sitting with her former parents-in-law, Don and Gail Patterson. Both were killed. Gail's sister, Heather Wilkinson, she was murdered too. And Heather's husband, Ian, who survived after weeks in hospital. Erin Patterson was found guilty of attempting to murder him. The murder weapon, this beef Wellington, made with death cap mushrooms, foraged by Erin Patterson. That was part of the web of lies that she spun. Let's run through some of the other evidence. This is the receipt for a food dehydrator Patterson used for the mushrooms, despite telling police she never owned one. In fact, here's the CCTV of her dumping the food dehydrator in the days after the deadly lunch at the local rubbish tip. When police found it, they also found bits of death cap mushrooms on the trays. After the meal, all 4 of her guests fell ill with vomiting and diarrhoea. They were placed in induced comas. Erin Patterson turned up at hospital too, 2 days after the lunch, but panicked when staff started asking questions. She left after just 5 minutes. That set off alarm bells for doctors at Leongatha Hospital. One of the doctors called emergency services.
Hello, what address do you need the police? This is Dr. Chris Webster calling from Leongatha Hospital, and I have a concern regarding a patient that presented here earlier but has left the building and is potentially exposed to a fatal toxin from mushroom poisoning, and I've tried several times to get hold of her on her mobile phone.
What's her name?
The last name is Patterson, Patterson.
First name?
Erin, Erin.
The doctor who made that call, Dr. Christopher Webster. He says when he asked Erin Patterson where she got the mushrooms from, she said Woolworths, a supermarket chain in Australia. And for him, that immediately set off alarm bells because already 4 patients were in hospital from the one meal, 3 slowly dying. Not a whole community getting sick from a supermarket product.
So when she didn't respond in a way that instantly would have explained it as a tragic accident, yeah, that's it. From that moment, in my mind, she was guilty, she was evil, and very smart to have planned it all and carry it out.
How do you think she's feeling today in that prison cell?
I think that she's probably already climbed the hierarchy of the social structure of prison. I think anybody who messes with her is going to regret it. She's not just evil, but she's intelligent. She's like Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor takes on Superman. So I wouldn't be messing with her if I was another inmate, that's for sure.
Dr. Webster was one of 53 witnesses who gave evidence at the trial. Police were Quickly on the case, they recovered leftovers from the beef Wellington meal and had them taken to the local hospital for examination. They found the same toxin that is usually found in death cap mushrooms. When police raided her home, they spoke to Erin Patterson at the same dining room table where that deadly meal was served. They also found a food dehydrator manual, despite her claims that she didn't own one. And she'd factory reset her mobile devices. After an 11-week trial on Monday at a court in country Victoria in the town of Morwell, Erin Patterson was found by a jury to be guilty of 3 murder charges and 1 charge of attempted murder. A triple murderer, a serial killer. The mother of 2 is now at the Dame Phyllis Frost Centre, a prison on the western outskirts of Melbourne. The jury wasn't told that Patterson was in custody during her trial. Patterson is already familiar with the Phyllis Frost, having been held there before her trial and returning there on the weekends during the court proceedings. So, what's life like inside? In a second, we'll talk to a former inmate. But first, let's take a look at this. Here's 7's Michael Usher.
Just outside Melbourne, behind 6-metre fences at a fortress of razor wire, lies one of Australia's toughest women's prisons, the Dame Phyllis Frost Centre, home to up to 600 inmates, the convicted, the violent, the infamous. Inside these walls, Malka Leifer, the former school principal accused of abusing girls, Judy Moran, who lived and breathed Melbourne's gangland war, and Momina Shomer, jailed after pledging allegiance to ISIS and stabbing a stranger. Life inside is rigid. Stripped of freedom, meals are rationed, movement is scheduled, trust is rare. Each inmate is assigned a compact, sparsely furnished room, usually shared with another woman. There's a metal frame bunk bed
Now, it'd be awful to share with someone, wouldn't it, to be honest? So good, because she won't like that. Don't forget, like for some women that will go into these prisons, maybe they're even homeless, or their living conditions, their living conditions before going into prison are pretty shit, maybe, you know. Not Erin. Look where Erin lived. It is going to be hard for her, that side of things. But I honestly think Erin is just going to be top dog in this prison. Literally top dog. And, you know, her money, all that, her notoriety, she'll start to enjoy it. I think that's what happens to a lot of killers. Even, you know, people like Myra Hindley. She had a great time in prison, didn't she?
to the floor, a stainless steel toilet with no seat and a small desk built into the wall. Personal items are limited. A few books, hygiene products, family photo, tiny amounts of blue tack. Fluorescent lights buzz overhead and a narrow frosted window lets in little natural light. Privacy is non-existent. Even the toilet sits in full view. To visit, you must be pre-approved and booked in by the inmate. Sessions are limited. You're urged to call ahead before you drive hours, only to be turned away. Visitors, including the likes of Erin's children, will face dress codes and bag checks. Sheer tops, hoodies, watches banned. Even colours are regulated. Smartphones are banned, so is most jewellery. You may be asked to remove hairpieces or even change into a prison-issued shirt. Refuse, and the visit's over before it begins. Contact can be limited. Hugs are brief if allowed. Conversations, strained. Security, always present. Inside Dame Phyllis Frost, time is served slowly.
So let's hear from a former inmate. Ashley Chapman has just served 10 years there, including in the same solitary confinement conditions Erin Patterson has been held in and will be held in. The slot, they call it. Chapman was convicted of serious crimes, including armed robbery.
Yeah, it was very confronting, also having to be strip searched as well.
Yeah, so I don't know what this lady did. She's out now, so she's paid her time, done whatever time she had to do for whatever she did. I'm sure it wasn't kill 3 elderly people and nearly kill a 4th. But it's interesting to get the insight from her for what it's like in there. You know, and the other thing is, don't forget the people, whether Erin will end up in solitary confinement, I just don't know, or whether she will get a cellmate or what she'll get. She'll love holding court, I think. I just feel like she will. And she will easily impress a lot of the ladies that are in there, because they won't come from such a the same socio-economic background as Erin, and they won't have the same sort of education and thing. All the benefits that Erin's had. She's had everything that anybody would want. She was educated, she was comfortable, she's inherited money. She's had a privileged life, and look at what she's done with it. Now, a lot of the other ladies in this prison, they won't have had those privileges. They'll be a bit in awe of Erin, I would think.
In front of two complete strangers. Yes, they were the same gender as myself, and they're just doing their job. And then you're put in the cell with this little folder with this document that is very old and not up to date. And then they close the door because you could arrive late at night, or you've been in medical because you've got conditions and you've had to wait for a doctor. And then they just lock that door and you're locked in for the rest of the night. And you don't know what to do. You don't know if you're allowed to do anything. You don't know if you're allowed to turn on the TV, if you're allowed to turn on the light. You just sit there and stare at the wall. And you just don't know how long it's going to be until they open the door again. I was very scared at the start. There are some very scary people in there. You could be in your cell at 11 o'clock at night when the whole prison is shut, and you hear the officer walking down doing their checks, and all you hear is the keys jangling back and forth, and then you're wide awake, and then the next half an hour, depending on who's on obs or not, you hear that again. It's torture.
Torture, she says. There is a key question about Erin Patterson that remains unanswered. Why? Why did she kill her ex-husband's parents and his aunt and try to kill his uncle too? Prosecutors made clear during the trial they wouldn't be presenting a motive to the jury, ultimately believing they didn't have to. She's been described as a disturbed, sociopathic nut job. Here's Dr. Webster again.
If you don't like the way...
Disturbed, sociopathic nut job. Don't mince your words. Like, this doctor, he really didn't like her at all, did he? I mean, instantly did not like her. It's quite interesting, really, for a doctor to say the things he does about her.
Your in-laws treat you, there are ways to deal with that that don't involve snuffing out the lives of three innocent people and attempting to take a fourth. The fact that she is capable of doing such a heinous act speaks volumes about the fact that her brain, her level of empathy, her level of self-awareness, her level of what other people think of her, it's all disturbed.
Erin Patterson has 28 days to appeal her conviction. If she doesn't, sentencing proceedings will begin in August. Often in Australia, victim impact statements from the victims' families are read to the court. The maximum penalty for murder in Victoria is life in prison. Okay, let's dive into five big other stories.
When he says the maximum penalty is life in prison, does he mean life? People say life imprisonment. It could be 18 years. It doesn't mean life. And will she get charged for 3 murders? So like, let's say she got, 25 years life for one. Will she then get 75 years because there were 3? In America, you would. One thing you can say about America, most places in America, they do get good sentences, don't they? I mean, the Delphi murderer, he's got about 130 years in prison. I'm more in favour of that than I don't believe in rehabilitation, not for these sort of crimes. I think, again, when people are very young and they maybe get caught for drug crimes or stuff like that, or even fights, even if they've ended up killing somebody, but it's like in the heat of a moment or stuff like that, I think there is a chance of rehabilitation. But I think someone like Erin, 50 years old, who's done this, there's no rehabilitation. You know, just lock her up and throw away the key. That's, to me, I don't think you can think, oh, well, yeah, in 20 years she won't be dangerous. Erin Patterson will always be dangerous, won't she? You know, because she's just nasty what she did, and she was a grown adult. You know, it's different when people do things when they're young. Maybe there's a possibility they can be redeemed. To me, it depends what they do. I think some things, you know, there are some horrible crimes that people commit when they're young that you just think that's nothing to do with anything except they're just horrible. You know, they're born wrong, born the wrong way. But I think for an adult like Erin, it should just be life imprisonment for the rest of her natural. And she's lucky. She's got, you know, a roof over her head. She'll have no bills to pay. She'll get fed three times a day. She'll get looked after health-wise. That's more than more than Don and Gail and Heather have got to look forward to, isn't it? So, yeah. Now, what somebody was just talking about South Korea or whatever. But also, is he in trouble now? I mean, he was a bit dramatic, but do you know what? It's his opinion. Why can't he's after the trial? Why shouldn't he say what he thinks? You know, and it's true what he says as well. So, okay, now we're going to have a look at how the reporter broke Erin's story. Oh, look at that. This is the last one. Well, I'm going to have a look for that Daily Mail thing. How a reporter broke Erin Patterson's mushroom nightmare. I need to like that, actually. I thought I was subscribed to them.
About 48 hours before the head of the homicide squad, Dean Thomas, he came out and named Erin Patterson as someone of interest. That meant, obviously, in terms of her, it was pretty much game on.
So tell me, Ferg, when did you first find out about the mass poisoning in Leongatha?
It was on the Saturday morning of August the 5th, 2023, about an hour before police raided Erin Patterson's house. It's hard to say, but you'd suspect they did the raids because we found out about what had happened, or at least what we learned initially was that there'd been, basically a mass poisoning. We weren't really sure exactly what was behind it.
Mm. And so how did those days pan out after you broke that original story?
It took about 48 hours before the head of the homicide squad, Dean Thomas, he came out and named Erin Patterson as someone of interest, that meant, obviously, in terms of her, it was pretty much game on, because essentially she was the only one of the guests that hadn't been sick. So from then on, it was really a case of trying to find out what had actually happened, who is or was Erin Patterson, who was Simon Patterson, her husband, and trying to piece together basically as much about her and her family as we possibly could. And that took a while, but slowly we started to get a bit of an idea about what was going on.
Mm. And so tell me, Ferg, this case has attracted incredible media interest. How did that grow sort of as the days went on?
It got a life of itself. Basically, I think the nature of this idea of an alleged mass poisoning involving mushrooms, I think that brought in Europe and other countries where poison mushrooms are a real issue. And then I think it was just the uniqueness of it that you had a really highly educated woman eventually who was charged with 3 counts of murder and other charges. So it was a really unique story. She was a woman of means. She's Erin Patterson has money. She's a multimillionaire. I wouldn't say, she's not a rich lister, but she's definitely well off by these parts.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus, bless me. Yeah, I mean, that's why it is so fascinating. You know, people are confused by the motive, aren't they? But as I say, people don't always need a motive, do they? They don't always need a motive. And, well, I think she had a motive. Her motive was pure spite. And also, yeah, had she done this before? The thing is, there's a lot of people get away with poisonings and stuff. You know, there's more murders than you think that people get away with it. You know, they're fake suicides. God, what was I watching the other day where somebody had done that? Some podcast that I was watching, and now somebody's just been, that's right, they'd killed their wife and made it look as if it was a suicide. Sorry, I keep saying that word, I shouldn't say it. No, I bet that's really common. I've covered some cases where people have done that. You know, most murders probably get solved, but there are some murderers out there. And sometimes, yeah, there isn't a motive. People like Erin, you know, it's you cannot see what's inside their mind. You cannot comprehend it, because we all get those, you know, how many times, like with in-laws or with family in general or friends, how people irritate you, don't they? You know, people do, sometimes you do feel slighted by people, especially in-laws probably and stuff like that. You know, you always feel that they're going to stick up, obviously, if their son or their daughter, rather than stick up for you. I think these are all human emotions, to be angry with people from time to time. You know, but how many people would actually sit and think, I'm going to show them? That's what I think Erin did. I'm going to show them. Don't mess with me. I'm Queen Bee. I'm the centre of attention. You know, and I think that is a motive, just pure spite.
Also, then you've got the other element that Simon Patterson's family come from the very much churchgoers. So there's a big religion element to it as well. So it's sort of, you know, I still can't quite work out exactly why it had such a big following, particularly overseas. But I think people just saw it as being a really unique story. And I think the mushroom element and this idea that someone may have tried to poison, you know, the in-laws as well. I mean, that's got another element to it, I think.
Now, Ferg, you met Erin Patterson. Tell us about when you met Erin.
Oh, yeah, look, we had a brief, you know, had a few minutes with her. And I suppose I picked up really, really quickly that she's extremely bright. Just from the nature of the conversation. She was pretty angry. She was sick of journalists.
But people keep saying this, oh, she's so very bright. She's not that bright. She's not as bright as she thinks she is, that's for sure.
But I could tell also there was something, you know, let's just say not completely normal around the way she was responding. She was clearly stressed. But the number one thing was that I could tell she's really bright. And that's kind of unusual, because usually when you end up in any sorts of big, you know, alleged crime stories, they tend to be, if it's not white collar crime, it tends to be lower socioeconomic. Whereas you could see here, this woman of means, you know, from everything that we're told, she's a good mother, you know, and extremely well educated. So there's a few sort of little differences in this story, I think.
Ferg, you've been in Morwell or Traralgon for 10 weeks now. How have you found covering the trial?
Oh, look, I've really enjoyed it professionally. I mean, obviously.
I'm surprised they haven't got mushroom stroganoff on that menu.
I suppose I should really stress, you know, just that there is a very, very big human toll in this. So three dead people.
Yeah.
And one seriously ill person from the lunch. But if you look at the broader being in Morwell, I think it's been really quite different. I think this would have been a very different trial had it been held in Melbourne. I think being in the country, having a jury that's been drawn from the local community.
Oh my God, something's just occurred to me. So I couldn't understand why Erin wanted to have her trial here in Morwell when she could have had a quicker trial in Melbourne. And it was her who said, no, she was. And you know, it's just come to me as he's saying this. This is why. It's because she thought she could win over these country people. Oh my God. She didn't want to go to Melbourne and have, you know, more sophisticated people on the jury that might see through her straight away like that doctor did. Is that the reason why she wanted to go to Morwell? Because she thought that the people that would be on the jury would be people like Heather, Don, Gail, Ian, people who, you know, were trusting and would trust her and believe what she said. Do you know what? That's just clicked to me because I've been thinking about that. Why did she want to do that? And remember, of course, she could have had her trial quicker if she would have gone to Melbourne. But Colin Mandy said, no, she's happy to. In fact, it wasn't Colin Mandy. It was, I think it was her previous solicitor. Said, oh, no, she's happy to wait because she was happy to wait. She thought she'd get people on the jury that she could manipulate. That's why she spoke for 3 days. Didn't she? Oh, no. Oh, no, I just don't remember that. Oh, poor me. I'm just a normal, you know, yeah, told all them lies, but I'm telling the truth now. Oh, they're mistaken, blah, 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 blah. That just is probably why. She wanted a local jury of simple folk, and I don't mean simple in a derogatory sense. You know, trusting people, church-going people, just like the people she just murdered, because they're the ones she thought she could manipulate. Like she manipulated them over saying that she had cancer and this, that, and the other, making them feel sorry for her. She's so cynical, and she's so sort of contemptuous of people that are beneath her, but she thinks she can manipulate them.
It puts a completely different complexion to things. I'm from the country, so I kind of enjoy being out of the city, and I enjoy being around the people. It's Morwell in particular has had a lot of financial difficulties because of its economically struggles since the scaling back privatisation of the power industry in the 90s. So it's sort of interesting seeing all that up close, and I'm just really impressed with the locals. They're good value, just good, honest people.
Yeah, exactly. They are good, honest people. Erin probably thought she could use that to her advantage. She probably thought they'd give her the benefit of the doubt because they won't be able to get their head around a person like Erin. So she wouldn't want 12 more sophisticated people or 15 as it starts. She wouldn't want that. She'd want 50. She'd want a jury of people that could be manipulated, just like the people that she just murdered. God. Anyway, one more thing to look at, and I think it was Excel. I don't know if it... Honestly, Friday, hasn't it? That's just come to me. She thought they'd be a dumb jury from the country. Yeah. Erin's one of those people, I've met a few of them. They like to be a big fish in a small pond. People like Erin. She don't want to be a small fish in a big pond or even a big fish in a big pond. She wants to be a big fish in a small pond. Lady Bountiful. You know, Lady Bountiful, the richest person in the village. You know, that's what she wanted. You know, I know somebody that used to have a really big house somewhere, and they were like the big fish in the... They weren't murderers, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they were murderers, they weren't. But then when they decided to downsize, they wouldn't live in that same place anymore because they didn't want to be in a small house because they'd always been in the biggest house in the village. They moved to a completely different place because they were moving into a flat and downsizing as they got older. But they didn't, because they weren't like the people that lived in the poshest house in the village anymore. They moved out the village or completely moved somewhere completely different. You know, people are funny. You honestly just don't know what's going through people's minds. So Erin liked that. You know, she liked being the big fish in the small pond. She didn't want to be, just one of everybody else. She wanted to be more special. Yes, I found that Excel. found that now. We're going to look at that now. Don't. Thank you for the heads up on that. Found it. Let's have a look. And you know what's brilliant about this footage that I'm going to show you is finally, you know, I've been obsessing about the plates. Is this what happened to the plates? So, the most damning evidence against Erin Patterson can be revealed at last. Now, I don't know if I presume the jury got to see this during the trial, as we expose CCTV video of what she did just 30 minutes after the deadly lunch. 30 minutes after. Is this the plates? Is this where the plates are going? Let's have a look.
Todos tenemos unas vacaciones de ensueño. Playas soleadas, el rumor de las olas, el suave canto de los pájaros tropicales. Pero para María, unas vacaciones de ensueño significan alquilar un coche en Enterprise y seguir a su DJ de tecno balcánico favorito en una gira relámpago por Europa. Dale ritmo, María. Sean como sean tus vacaciones soñadas, aquí para ayudarte. Enterprise.
Sorry, and it's in Spanish as well. Right, so just 20 minutes, was it 20 minutes or 30 minutes later? What's she thrown away? What is she throwing away, do you think, there? Now, I don't know if there's plates in there. Doesn't seem very heavy. That's cardboard. That's just cardboard. Now, to be fair, I couldn't see anything but cardboard there. Let's have a look again. Can't see any plates there, to be fair. That's cardboard. So what do you think? Now, maybe she discarded the plates on the way there. I mean, I'm just thinking 30 minutes after having a lunch, would you then want to go to the thingy? But I couldn't see any plates there, to be fair. But yeah, I agree. Who goes to the, after lunch? Would you go to a...
This is the moment Erin Patterson visits a tip. Just 30 minutes after her lunch guest left her house. It's a tip visit the jury in her trial were never told about, and this video has never been seen before. Our exclusive footage shows Erin Patterson driving her red MG into a landfill depot at 3:30 p.m, almost directly after Don, Gail, Heather and Ian left her house, where they'd been deliberately poisoned with death cat mushrooms. Within a few hours, they'd be fighting for life, and within days, 3 of them would be dead. So could this be the missing piece of the puzzle? What exactly happened to the grey plates which she served the poison?
Now, these plates are an obsession of mine. Now, she may have dumped them on the way there or whatever. That's not plates she's dumping there. It's just cardboard.
Beef Wellingtons to her lunch guests on. They were never found by the police, and she denied ever owning them. But why did she visit the tip as soon as her guests had left? And
Yeah,
what
it's a funny
was she
thing.
getting rid of? Join Wayne and I on the Trial podcast later on.
It is a strange thing to do, isn't it? Don't you think? You just have lunch, you think, oh, just go and visit the tip. But, I don't know. But if you look, we'll watch one more time, but I can't see anything but cardboard.
This is the moment Erin Patterson visits a tip. Just 30 minutes after her lunch guest left her house. It's a tip visit the jury in her trial were never told about, and this video has never been seen before. Our exclusive footage shows Erin Patterson driving her red MG into a landfill depot at 3:30 p.m, almost directly after Don, Gail, Heather and Ian left her house, where they'd been deliberately poisoned with death cap mushrooms. Within a few hours, they'd be fighting for life, and within days, 3 of them would be dead. So could this be the missing piece of the puzzle? What exactly happened to the grey plates which she served the poisoned beef Wellingtons to her lunch guests on? They were never found by the police, and she denied ever owning them. But why did she visit the tip as soon as her guests had left?
Yeah, now the thing is, I think that's a bit of a nothing burger, to be honest. I don't think she wasn't getting rid of the plates there. Maybe she got rid of the plates on the way there. You know, the thing is, they've only got the CCTV from the tip. They've not got, you know, she might have stopped anywhere and got rid of those plates, mightn't she? God, what happened there? I lost you there for a minute. So, yeah, the plates could be in between the cardboard, but wouldn't they turn up? Wouldn't they turn up? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That because if there was any way that that could be proven it was the plates, and she could have hidden them between the cardboard, but that video would definitely have been used in the trial if you know it could be shown that it was the plates. You know, those plates are somewhere, aren't they? They're somewhere, or they've been thrown somewhere. They could have gone in there. I mean, but where would all that cardboard have gone? You know, where does it go then when it goes on like the conveyor belt or whatever and gets mushed down? Wouldn't it turn out that there were plates in there and it wasn't all just cardboard? I don't know. So yeah, so she's an interesting character, isn't she? There'll be a lot spoken about Erin. You know, there's lots to come out, lots of interviews, there'll be people who used to work with her talking about her. There's documentaries coming out. I'm sure there'll be a Netflix at some point. So, yeah, there'll be lots more to talk about. But basically, you know, it's just a good result, the verdict. We mustn't, as always, forget, you know, the people that are behind, the main people in this story. Don, Gail, Heather and Ian. I wonder how Ian feels. Wonder if he's ever going to come out and, you know, do an interview or whatever. You know, say a prayer for them, all of them, light a candle for them. Okay. So, as I say, this longer video, it's been a very long video because I've talked about a lot of different things. I will be cutting it up into shorter videos and releasing them, you know, individually. So if you know, just to let you know, if you've watched this whole video, you might not want to watch things again, or maybe you will. So, you know, it'll just be separated and released as normal videos to give someone people something to watch while I'm in the members live tonight. So we've got the members live tonight. I'll see all you members there. We had a new member today, didn't we? Well, we had Princess, who is remembered, if that's the word. And so we'll say hello to her tonight. Other things I want to thank people for, of course. I had a nice super sticker from Excel, Mushroom Queen of Cell Block D. Princess rejoined as a member, thank you. And Bluebell sent a super sticker, thank you so much. But thank you to everyone who's contributed, either as chatting or just watching. Thank you so much, and hello, and thank you to Replay Crew, etc. So yeah, impact statements. Yes, you're right. That'll be the next thing, won't it? When there's sentencing, we've still got sentencing to come yet, haven't we? So yeah, there's still a lot more to come about this case. So I'll see you all. If you remember, I'll see you tonight in the members. If not, I'll see you tomorrow. And but as I say, we'll be releasing these videos. Give you something to watch if you're not a member. Thank you again. I appreciate all of you. Please don't forget to like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. It's free to subscribe, and I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, as always, may your God go with you. Bye.